A couple days ago, I photographed someone I hadn't seen in 30 years. We actually grew up together. We were in grade one together. I believe we were in kindergarten together. She's a teacher now. Prior to the pandemic, I started working on a project that I never even got to start. I had reached out to a number of people. When I'm working on a new project, I want to work with people I know or am familiar with, or people who are sort of open to allow me to figure out what I'm doing as I'm going. My background in improvisation is, I think, my greatest strength as a photographer. And so I like to keep it loose. I like to have an idea, have some images in mind when I go into a shoot, but I want to be able to have room to explore and to play and to figure out shots that I might not have otherwise planned, but I think end up being great shots. And we have some of that here in this shoot. When I go into a space, what I want to do first is I want to take a look around, look at the environment and figure out what is going to work in that environment. How can I take what's there and make it into something interesting? Having a plan is great, but oftentimes you don't have a lot of time. Why don't we take a look at the shoot and see what we've got? We got 82 frames. Here we are in capture one. Here's all 82 images. First thing I'll do is increase my grid, and then I can see these 5 images right at the top here, just me testing lights. So I'm going to select them and get rid of them. Now I'm going to take a look in, and I'm just going to skip. I'm just going to start skipping through until I start to see images. I'm going to select that one, images that I like. I saw that. I love that smile. I love that expression. Let's keep editing here. That's okay. That's out. This did not work out as I was thinking, so these sort of top-down ones are out. If you look here, I'm gonna just zoom in here. If you look in this background, you can see this is my beauty dish, and this is on a grid. It is firing a very focused light right onto the subject, which is Kim in this case. So for most of these shots, I'm using this beauty dish here. It's a Bowens mount. I'm shooting on Neewer Vision 4. I like these, battery powered, inexpensive. So I'll just take this, drop the beauty dish right on there. So I keep looking through. That's interesting to me. I'm gonna select that. No, and that's out. That's okay. I'll say in for now. That is definitely in. What I told her at this moment was to give me her best impression of a kid in school. I like this look. I like that one better. I'm gonna take that one back out. That looks fun. Got some good expressions here. Go through these a little quicker. That's not bad. That's nice. I like that better. The reason the lighting is different is I actually changed my modifier here. Instead of the beauty dish, I used this here, pop-up softbox with a diffusion panel, no grid. This is made for these kind of speed light modifiers. Pop that around the edge, drop a speed light in the back, and you've got your softbox. But I don't like speed lights. This is a little adapter. It was about 27 bucks. Like that, I can just use that softbox. That was my setup, one light. So this shot, not something I liked. I didn't really like the light. I didn't really like the expression. You know, the expression's not good. It's not there. I moved the light a bit here. Don't like that. Didn't like this. And, oh, I like that. This shot, I had taken the transceiver off the top of the camera just so I could shoot with the natural light. There was massive windows coming into the classroom. They were giving off some fantastic light. So I'm going to take a look at this shot for sure. And then we went out into the hallway. I love this fun expression. You know, she's angry at me. I'm not in class. But yeah, I thought the hallway was good. This, you know, single point perspective, good. So here what I'm doing is I'm dragging my shutter so that I can get more of that ambient light in. Not bad. One thing you'll notice here is the haze around the lights because I'm using a quarter black Pro Mist filter on these shoots as well. I want that halation around the lights. This shot is great because this is her personality. This is my personality in a photo. It's exactly what I like. We were only able to get these 2 frames though because the locker smelled horrible, probably because of these gross running shoes. And she got in there, she squeezed herself in, and then she was like, that's it, I'm done. understandable. But let's take a look now how many selects we have. Okay, so I have 16 selects that I can work with. So I'm gonna look at these all a little closer. So let's jump back in. First thing I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna crop this. I'm gonna give this a 16:9. Come in and just grab that full table, cut into that background. That already looks a lot better. Not sure about the balance here, so I'm going to change it a bit, have her sort of leaning into that third. I don't want all of this in, but I definitely didn't want that chair in the frame either. So I think this is a good crop here for me. This shot, this to me looks like it'd be a good 1-to-1. Rotate this. I'm gonna grab my rotation tool and just bring that nice and flat, and then adjust my crop a little bit. Bring it over a bit, because we do have this element here of having her name in the shot, so I want to keep that in there a little bit. I'm not sold on these. This one I like. I think I'm gonna do this portfolio size. That would be good for my book. And I'm going to bring this in here, have her looking off, keep the crop coming in tight. When I'm cropping, I like to have this, if you can see this vertical line, I like to have one of these, either a vertical line or a horizontal line on the eye, and if not, like a cross point right on the eye as well. I'm definitely going to refine this a bit. Yeah, much better. So that's a good starting point. Not bad. This one I like. I'm gonna put this in more of a 4/5 vertical. This is more like a magazine cover. Again, use my rotation tool to drag across the bottom of these boards here. Get a nice horizontal line. Yeah, that's pretty solid. I just want to make sure that element, that playful element of having her name in there, is in the photo. One of the things I'll often do when I'm editing an image are I will come in and I'll draw a radial mask over the face so that I can isolate the face. And then this line here feathers out that mask. You can see how that mask feathers out as it increases and decreases. Something like this, if you're to make adjustments, you can really see that line. But if we drag that mask out, you can see it feather out. So the effect isn't so centralized. So I tend to use a large mask when I'm making adjustments to a small area so that it looks a lot more natural. It blends a lot better across the image. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to increase the contrast slightly, and I'm going to increase the brightness slightly so that it draws a little more focus onto the face. Now I'm going to label this layer face. Then what I do is, this is a trick that I like to do, and I do this a lot. I'm creating a new adjustment layer. I call this VIG for vignette. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click here. I'm going to copy the mask from the face layer. So you can see the mask is the same on this layer and the face layer. But what I'm going to do is on the layer, I can right click and I can invert the mask. So now I have one layer that has the complete opposite of that face mask. And then I will use this to act as a vignette on the other areas. So I will decrease the contrast, and then I'll also slightly pull down the exposure. I will drop the highlights, I'll drop the white point, I'll decrease the shadows a bit, I'll bring the brightness down, might drop the saturation slightly, but then the main area of focus I'm going to be working with is the exposure. You can see you can go too far, too quick, very easily. I want this to be subtle. I think that's okay. Open up the contrast a little bit more. I'll pull the shadows up. I think this is better. I'm going to open the shadows up, decrease the contrast, pull the exposure down. So I'm sort of generally flattening out the contrast in the rest of the image, increasing the contrast in around where her face is. What I could do as well is, if I come in here, I can increase the structure on her face. I'm going to only increase that very slightly, and I think that's a good spot for that image. Now I'm just going to edit a little bit and freestyle this, and I'll probably speed this up in post, so you're not watching me just fine-tune bits and pieces of these images for half an hour. Every day I
enough, so I split it. Everybody solid, worldwide, now I'm trending. On that hot topic, touchdown, now I'm winning. How they gon' stop it? We the talk of the town. Look at me now, up in a way, we in the clouds. We set it off every time we get involved. You could let them know if they forget it, cause we got it all day, all night. You know we got it like that, got it like that. All day, all night, yeah. You know we got it like that, got it like that. We coming up, oh yeah, we coming up, oh yeah, we coming up, oh yeah, we coming up. All day, all night, yeah. You know we got it like that, got it like that. Packed out in the front row, light flex, yeah, welcome to the gun show. We done been coast to coast, seen a whole map. If you got it, let them know and never hold back. Hey, it's all facts, it's no cap, yeah. From the burbs, to the trap, hey. We set it off every time we get involved. You could let them know if they forget it, cause we got it all day, all night. You know we got it like that, got it like that. All day, all night, yeah. You know we got it like that, got it like that. We coming up, oh yeah, we coming up, oh yeah, we coming up, oh yeah, we coming up. All day, all night, yeah. You know we got it like that, got it like that. You know we got it like that, got it like that. You know we got it like that, got it like that.
Okay, so this is my first edit complete. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to select all of these, head to my export, and I'm going to put out quick res full edit proof. You'll see this preset is called 100% retouch. That's something I'll get into in a future video, but I do have this attached to a droplet that uses AI to handle the retouching. I'm going to export that. 10 variants going out. We'll take a look at the export queue. Those get processed nice and quick. If this is something that you'd like to see more of, hit subscribe. I'm going to do more of these videos. I'm going to dig back into some of my older shoots and show you how I process them as well. If you found this video helpful, please hit like and leave a comment. Let me know what you found interesting. If you have questions about anything, this is my first video doing this, so I'm gonna figure out how to get better at this as time goes on. So I'm gonna do more of these and work this into the channel a lot more. Thanks. Take care.